It's not competition killing your business. It's you. In this episode of Mindscale, I want to show you the 4 self-sabotaging habits that most entrepreneurs don't even realize they have. And also, I'm going to teach you how to break free from them before they break your business. Hi there, welcome once again to yet another mind-shifting episode of Mindscale with Olushola. Before we get into the awesome details, this is a gentle reminder that just in case you're yet to subscribe to this channel, we don't know what you're waiting for. So kindly do us the honors by clicking on the subscribe button, and while at it, do not forget to turn on post notification so you'll be the very first person to know when next we drop another mind re-engineering episode of Mindscale. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video, or let's get into the episode. Now, the reason I said that there are several self-sabotaging things that different entrepreneurs are doing is because a whole lot of times when things go wrong, we have the natural inclination and the tendency to point accusing fingers of other people without knowing that 3 other fingers are pointing right back at us. And so, if I were you, I will begin to reframe failure and not necessarily see it as an external doom, but also sometimes see it as some internal missteps, which means while there are macroeconomic factors that could be impacting my sales, while there are other things people might have been doing in my environment to affect me, in many cases, there are also some things I might have been doing that could have been sabotaging my business. So yes, it's possible that you are the devil you've been trying to bind, or rather, your habits are the demons that you've been trying to exhort. Is it exorcism? Exhort? Is it exhort? Exhort? It's okay if I don't get everything right. So here are 4 self-sabotaging things you might have been doing that are affecting your business. Number 1 is that you've been choosing busyness over productivity. Aha, this sounds like someone. Whenever you get home night after night, you're always so tired. Every single day, you're always busy, always having something doing. You're always on, but you're never moving forward. For so long, you have mistaken activity for productivity. You just think that the busier I get, regardless of what it is that I am doing, I feel more effective and I feel more accomplished, but that's a lie. First and foremost, you must understand that the statistics are stacked against you, because in an economy where over 50% of small businesses close within the first 5 years and less than about 10% make it to year 10, you must understand that the odds are stacked against you. But then again, the question is, what are the major reasons for these failures? You know, there was a 2024 Forbes Tech Council Roundup finding, right, that showed that a common failure factor for many small businesses is actually inadequate management and also a lack of clear priorities. This is where I'm headed, a lack of clear priorities. You know, many founders confuse constant activity with progress. They think because they're sending mails, because they're attending meetings, sounds like someone, because they're posting online, they think they are effective. They think they are being productive. And so they don't spend time instead on the most important factors that move the needle in their business. They don't spend time on scaling tasks, on systems, or on long-term strategy. And so imagine, you're always busy responding to emails all morning, hopping into Zoom calls, writing social posts, sampling freelancing gigs, but you never really get to build the most important things. You never get to build that pricing model or that sales funnel or that system or structure that will ensure that all you are currently getting right is properly replicated. And so it's not about always being busy. It's not about always having something to do. The question is, what are you doing? Sometimes you get so busy with being busy that you don't pay attention to what you were doing in your busyness. And this is important. And so instead of being always busy, have you tried auditing your work? Have you tried auditing your week? And have you tried classifying your task into urgent low value tasks compared to high leverage growth tasks? And then have you tried cutting? Have you tried delegating? Or have you tried automating your busy work? Let me tell you something. One of the things I've noticed is that a lot of times we think we're busy. About 90% of the things we are busy with could actually be easily delegated. Whereas the remaining 10% are what you ought to be spending more time in and perhaps spending some deep work on to be able to make the most of. Well, I hope this helps. And this leads me to the second self-sabotaging thing that many business owners do. It is that they are scared of delegation. Sounds like some people. They think they're the only ones who can do things right. I'm going to take a shot at myself, for example. Early days of my business, I thought there was nobody who could do specific things like I could. And I could swear that I'm a better salesman than anybody in the world. I can sell coffee into a dead man. I can sell ice to an Eskimo, for example. And I used to think, I'm so good at sales. Nobody can do it better than I can. Until more responsibilities got stacked up and I employed someone to do sales. And I couldn't believe that I was about to let go of the business's Instagram page for somebody who I did not think was a better salesman than myself. But listen, one of the laws of growth is that you must learn when to let your baby go, which means you must learn when to trust in other people to be able to do as much quality of work as you might have. This is important. It was Andrew Carnegie who said no person will make a great business who wants to do it all by themselves or take all the credit. It can't just be all about you. You can't be the only person in the business. You can't be the only person making things happen. You need to learn to delegate. Nothing will multiply until there's some degree of delegation. It was Jessica Jackley, the co-founder of Kiva, who said that you must focus on the most important task, the most mission crucial tasks, and then you must share, you must delegate, you must delay, or you must skip the rest. You can't do everything yourself. Thinking that you are most effective when you have spent the entire day working like a horse doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. And that's the truth. And so this is important because many entrepreneurs hold back on delegating because they think it's so hard to let go. Nobody can do it better than myself. Who else can do it? Well, guess what? That's why you keep burning out. And remember, a burnt out entrepreneur will never, ever, ever steer the ship of the organization towards progress and productivity. So learn to delegate. This is important. Very, very, very important. You know what? Let me give you a tip or two and give you something practical. If you are still spending hours doing invoicing, doing basic customer service, or still posting to social media, and you're not even a specialist in any of those areas, you are trading growth hours for repetitive administration. If those responsibilities could simply have been handed over to a virtual assistant or an intern, or even maybe a template-based automation, imagine the leverage. Just imagine the leverage. And so start delegating. Start delegating the low-stakes tasks to people or to tools. And define the clear outcomes and don't necessarily have to micromanage every single step. When you give people responsibilities, let them breathe, let them do, let them know they have your backing. And you can track the results and then you can refine things as you go. But most importantly, don't let your fear of letting go become what hinders you from the joy of scaling up. This, I hope, helps. And that leads me to point number 3. The number 3 thing that has been sabotaging your business is the fear of making hard decisions. I think that top 3 most important skill sets that every CEO must have is decisiveness. You must be decisive. Oh yes, you must. You must know when to take specific tasks. You must know when to take specific steps. You must know when to cut your losses. You must know when to raise your prices. You must know when to fire unproductive team members. And you must also know when to pivot in your strategy. This is important. This is one of the top reasons that small businesses fail. It is because of poor management and indecisiveness. And so, as a business, you must know, when am I cutting my losses? When is this thing not working? And when do I have to change my approach? Because sometimes you must understand that if you just keep doing the same thing and expecting the different results, you could just be a fool. And so Sometimes it's your fear of the unknown. It's the fear of what will happen if I do this. It's the fear of an uncharted territory. But you need to understand that business is all about discovering new things. It's the risk factor that makes entrepreneurship what it is. And so you must learn to reevaluate things. You must understand that a business that does not revisit pricing and product market fit or cost structure, they often get squeezed out by more agile competitors, people who can make decisions faster, people who know how to move with the times, people who are more flexible. And so this is very important. Think about it. Go through your product range. Which product is dragging us down? Which person is dragging us down? Which person is proving to be a tumor that could lead to a cancer? Think about it and put the person out as fast as possible. Don't wait until things get out of hand before you take control. This is very important. Stop self-sabotaging yourself. And that leads me to the fourth way that you probably have been self-sabotaging yourself. It is that you've been neglecting personal discipline. A business is only as great as the people who lead it. A vision is only as credible as the man who stewards it. And so here's the point. You've been so focused on leading a business, but you haven't led yourself. It's like putting the cart before the horse. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a 2-bedroom flat foundation. Nothing will ever work. And so the question is, are you disciplined? You can't expect a disciplined organization when the leader isn't disciplined. Things like poor time management, things like procrastination, things like a lack of self-care, things like an unsustainable work rhythm or terrible sleep pattern could be one of the major things hampering your growth as a chief executive officer. You know, one of the main reasons for failure for many businesses is actually being inadequate management. And when you talk about inadequate management, people think about the business management, but they forget that management starts with personal management of your time, of your energy, and of your priorities. And so founders who burn out or lose clarity often end up slowing the business growth. They also end up making erratic decisions. They also end up just shutting down altogether. And so think about it. Is the reason I feel cranky the next morning really because I slept late after being up for genuine reasons, or that I slept late because I was binging through social media and catching up on all the series that I missed? Ask yourself, how disciplined enough am I? At the office, it's easy to lead other people, but when alone, do you really lead yourself? These are very important questions that you must ask yourself. Because once again, it is impossible to steer the ship of an organization to the promised land if you yourself haven't steered your own ship. You must become, quote and unquote, a law to yourself. It's important. Ensure you manage your energy. Ensure you manage your motivations. Ensure you manage your exposure. Ensure you understand that you are on a path where no other person around you might be, but that's okay. You're an entrepreneur. You're taking risks. You're creating jobs. And so you must live and act like somebody who has got a given level of responsibility. And it's on that note that I want to say that I hope that you pay attention to these 4 points that I've said. If it's something you can relate to, why not let me know in the comments, particularly as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I said that you have noticed that you hope will help. This is important. And so if you can identify any of these 4 habits that have been sneaking into your leadership, first thing you must do is you must own it. Don't excuse it. And after owning it, you must decide, am I staying stuck or am I breaking that habit today? Because once you break them, you will unlock growth without needing a new business model or a bigger marketing budget. And so, my friend, let your leadership evolve and your business will follow. Thank you. And you have come to the end of this episode of Mindscale. I hope it has been worth your while. Do not forget to like this episode. Kindly do so, because when you do it, the algorithm pushes it up for more people to see it. And also do not forget to subscribe and turn on post notification so you will be the very first person to know when next we drop another amazing episode of Mindscale. Till then, ciao.